Coming up around the bend on NBA Now, going to take all of your questions on all of the latest NBA news and rumors. But first, make sure you subscribe to our main Chat Sports YouTube channel because the NBA draft coming up before we know it, Thursday, June 23rd, and we will be live for the most watched NBA draft coverage on YouTube as well as Rumble. Hit that red subscribe button down below as we discuss every single selection on draft night. Then after that, draft winners and losers, draft grades, then a week after the draft free agency. You don't want to miss any of it. That's why you subscribe to the channel. We start off this mailbag with this question coming in from the Rainbow Cow. We saw what Luka Doncic did with what he has. What superstar can help him get to the NBA Finals? You know what? I'm pretty intrigued by a Donovan Mitchell. I think that Luka Doncic needs another playmaker. But here's the deal. You can't have Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson, so you would have to select between the two. I might actually rather have Jalen Brunson on the roster, but I think he's more of a 3. So who is your number 2? Do you go after a big man? Deandre Ayton would be perfect for the Mavericks roster as a rim protector and a guy who can give you athleticism and switching ability, which is of the utmost importance in today's NBA. The point here being, Luka is great. He can lead you to the Western Conference Finals, like LeBron did in putting the Cleveland Cavaliers on his back en route to a bunch of Finals appearances and Eastern Conference Finals appearances. But they were never seriously considered to be a true NBA championship contender because the roster around LeBron wasn't all that deep or star-studded. That's why he went to the Miami Heat. For Luka and the Mavericks, got to get that bona fide number 2. Key with this, which trade rumor do you think will actually happen? That's a good one. I think Deandre Ayton is going to leave the Phoenix Suns, and I think that he is going to get traded, and I think it's going to be a sign-and trade. I don't think that Deandre Ayton is going to be allowed to leave by the Phoenix Suns for nothing as a former number 1 overall pick, so I do think he gets dealt somewhere to a team that needs a center, like the Dallas Mavericks, maybe the Charlotte Hornets, Portland Trail Blazers, a sneaky team out there as well. Let's get to this question from Greg Johnson. In the movie Hustle, a proposed trade was made dealing Joel Embiid for the number 1 overall pick. Do you think the Sixers would ever actually do that? Bo Cruz gets buckets, by the way. Let me say this about Hustle. As a guy who grew up in the Philadelphia area, I think aesthetically, it was shot great with some really good sights and sounds around the Philadelphia area. That's point number 1. Point number 2, sports movies are hard to make. And I thought that Adam Sandler did a great job in producing Hustle and making it actually look realistic. Now, he was able to do that because Juan Hernangomez was actually a really good actor, and he was also a really good basketball player because he is an NBA player. Anthony Edwards playing the role as villain I thought was fantastic. The fact that the Sixers gave Adam Sandler and his crew all of the access that they needed with their practice facility in Camden, as well as the Wells Fargo Center in South Philadelphia, was a nice little touch as well. As for your question, Greg, and this is really a pop culture reference here, I'm going to give the movie a 9 out of 10. I thought it was excellent, and sports movies are not always that good. I don't think the Sixers would trade Joel Embiid for the number 1 overall pick, because right now, as that roster is currently constructed, they're ready to win right now. And if you trade for the number 1 overall pick, I think Jabari Smith can be a good player. He's my number 1 overall guy on this draft board. Paolo Banchero, solid. Chet Holmgren, I don't really like. I might actually go Jaden Ivey, Benedict Mathurin, and Shaedon Sharpe ahead of Chet Holmgren. But the point here being, you're ready to win right now with the construction of this roster, and a rookie doesn't help you win right now. Embiid can get you a lot. He can get you the number 1 overall pick. I just don't think it makes a lot of sense. And also, Joel Embiid is Philadelphia's son. He's finished runner-up in the MVP the last 2 years. He's playing masterful basketball, which is beautiful to watch night in and night out. Sixers haven't punched their ticket past the second round, but hopefully Embiid will be able to do that in a Sixers uniform and not elsewhere in exchange for the number 1 overall pick. So I graded Hustle. I gave it a 9 out of 10, which would be a 90 out of 100. I want you to be a movie critic and call yourself Jack Lauderay in the comment section right now and grade Hustle from 1 to 100. I thought it was excellent. You let me know what you think about the flick down below. Joseph with this, who do you see the Pelicans drafting with their picks? It could be Benedict Mathurin. It could be Johnny Davis. I think those are the 2 picks that they could pinpoint. Shaedon Sharpe, if he drops, would be a fascinating pick. Him coming off the bench as a hyper scorer could be a good addition on that Pelicans team. I'll say this right now. If Zion's healthy, the Pelicans, they can be a top 5 seed in the Western Conference next year. Tavarius, does DeAndre Ayton fit on the San Antonio Spurs? Yes. You have Jakob Poeltl, and that's about it. And the Spurs need more talented players around DeJounte Murray. They have a couple of other good complementary pieces. I'm excited about the projection for Josh Primo moving forward. Keep in mind, he was the youngest prospect taken last year at 18 years old. You just need more stars on that squad. And frankly, the Spurs have been such a mundane franchise for way too long. The NBA is better when they're a really good team. Also going to make a prediction. I think they're in on DeAndre Ayton. I also think that Popovich is going to retire at some point. And when that happens, Quinn Snyder is going to be the next coach. Next question is coming in from Angry Man. Do you think that Jayson Tatum has been outplayed by Steph Curry in the NBA Finals? Could the Celtics trade him? Thoroughly outplayed by Steph Curry in the NBA Finals. And going into it, you're looking at the young star who is chasing his first ring and the bona fide superstar in Steph Curry chasing his fourth, who did not have an NBA Finals MVP. And Steph Curry has been the better player overall. And I think that Tatum has really struggled in a variety of ways. Andrew Wiggins has defended him really well. He's been bothered. His shooting percentage from 2 is lower than Steph Curry's shooting percentage from 3. He's been erratic and inconsistent. He just set the record for the most turnovers in NBA playoffs history. And Curry has been the better superstar player. I think that Tatum is a star on the precipice of becoming a superstar. And maybe the finals experience will be a good learning experience for Jayson Tatum. Would I trade him away? Absolutely not. He's one of the best young players in the league, and I love the future of the Boston Celtics. What do you think? Is Tatum a top 10 player? Type Y for yes or type N for no. I think he's on the outside looking in, but that's more of a byproduct of the talent level at the NBA level being as deep as it's ever been. Subscribe to our main Chat Sports YouTube channel by hitting that red subscribe button down below, because we'll be going live for the NBA Draft on June 23rd, myself and Harrison Graham live for many hours, breaking down every single selection during both rounds. 58 picks this year because of the tampering charges against the Heat as well as the Chicago Bulls. That's why there's only 58 picks, but we'll still be here breaking it all down. That's why you subscribe. Perk. Can the Mavericks trade for Rudy Gobert? I think that the Dallas Mavericks need a big. I think they need a rim protector. I thought that was their glaring weakness throughout the NBA playoffs, and that is the biggest area of need outside of bringing back Jalen Brunson and trying to get that number 2 star. If I were to go after a big, I'm not going Rudy Gobert. I'm going after DeAndre Ayton. He's the better, more well-rounded player, more diversity to his game, better offensively, maybe just as good down the road defensively. I understand that Rudy Gobert has won a couple of Defensive Player of the Year awards, and he's a generational player, but I'm going Ayton all day over Rudy Gobert. The RC Planemaker, shout out to Maxfield. What's up with the Hawks? Who will they be trading for? They could trade away John Collins. They could trade away Bogdanovich. They could trade away Danilo Gallinari. I think they're going to make a lot of trades. As for who they could trade for, not ruling out Ben Simmons, not ruling out Tobias Harris, just a couple of trade assets and trades that could happen for the ATL. My holy king with this, how about KD for Ayton, Bridges, Cam Johnson, and a pick, Kyrie for Donovan Mitchell? Nets will still be a contender. I mean, that trade wouldn't necessarily work because it has to involve multiple teams, and I don't think the Nets are going to trade away Kevin Durant, but I do appreciate that question, my holy king. You are my king. Alec G, any chance that KD reunites with OKC in 2026? I don't think so. I mean, it's hard to predict the future. There's so much crazy movement that can happen in the NBA. KD going back to OKC in 2026? I mean, maybe. They get this selection right, whether it be Paolo Banchero, Jabari Smith, or Chet Holmgren. You have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Love Josh Giddey. Maybe Lou Dort is still on the team, and KD looks at that squad and he says, we can compete for an NBA championship. So I am going back after what may have been, at that time, a disastrous stint with the Brooklyn Nets. Crazier things have happened. I'm going to say no right now, though. DG Sports Talk. Where does Duncan Robinson end up at the end of free agency? He's not a free agent. He just signed that big deal with the Miami Heat. He would have to get traded somewhere. As for where he could get traded, if the Miami Heat want to package him and Tyler Hero for Donovan Mitchell, I think that could happen. So in that case, he would go to Utah. Other teams are going to be looking for shooting all throughout the offseason. And Duncan Robinson, since signing that big deal, his shooting numbers have gone downhill just a bit. I think he's a better player than that, though. I think there's a better player in there, and I think it's smart for Miami to trade him, especially if he's getting DNP'd a lot. Which is better? My final question for you during this mailbag. Is it the NBA draft? Type D. Is it NBA free agency? Type FA. Our coverage for both is the best, and there's nothing better. That I know, but let me know what is better between the two offseason activities here in the NBA.